aside from streaming video content, we've also got live chat. That's where you actually set up a chat channel where people can see you over your webcam, but they can also hear your voice with a combination of a microphone and cam. A lot of these were invented so people could interact with their favorite online porn stars. So now we can use live chat functions for all sorts of different things. So we can use it for web-based video conferencing, which we do a lot of here at the university. Anybody who was sitting in on the SSHRC seminar knows that, you know, we had the online video conferencing. We could see and hear everybody that was involved. Our smart classrooms, which people can use to teach classes both here and on the Orillia campus simultaneously, and so on and so forth. So obviously this one is really significant to us, because we do use it here in the educational system. We also do use it in a lot of the business world. And it's all thanks to porn. Online traffic optimization. So basically what happens is, instead of plugging all of your stuff into a search engine, sometimes you'll go and look at a site, you'll click a link from one to the other. That idea came from porn. There's a lot of porn on the internet. Clientele needed to kind of be directed and everything, so they wouldn't have to go back through search engines and kind of weed through everything themselves. So what happened was partner sites came up with this idea to link their websites together, and this is actually a common practice that we use on all sorts of websites nowadays. You know, if you liked this, check this out. YouTube does it all the time, where it's like, if you were watching this video, say a music video by the Beatles, maybe you would like another music video by the Beatles or something by the Rolling Stones or somebody else from that era, and they can actually relate content to each other and optimize the flow of traffic. Segmented content, this is that breakdown sort of categorization or organization of different content that's available, so you can actually narrow it down and filter through easier and find what you want. That was also designed by pornographic innovators. But wait, there's more. I know a lot of this is internet-based, but that's because it just seems to be the most relevant right now. Geolocation software. Is anybody familiar with what geolocation software is? Basically what geolocation software is it allows you to identify a computer on the internet in its physical location. So I know everybody's sitting there going, okay, big privacy issues and everything here, but it actually helps out with a lot of things. Criminal investigations, for instance, if you can figure out what somebody's IP is, you can find out what area they're from. But also marketing firms use this to kind of pinpoint the needs of people in certain areas, so they can start researching what kind of businesses they should be setting up in those areas, which, you know, a lot of the time was the same thing that, you know, pornographers were doing. It's like, if there's this one location in this area where a lot of computers are accessing this kind of stuff, maybe we should pay attention to that area and start, you know, catering to what their needs are, because there might be really, really good business opportunities there, which in turn, if it's successful, will help the economy and so on and so forth. Okay. Hold on to your hats, everybody. This one's gonna be fun. 3G cellular networks. 3G cellular networks stands for third generation. This is the networks that things like Apple iPhones operate on. A little bit of fun history here. Virgin Extra's head Nick White and Playboy.com's Laura Sigmund teamed up in 2002 to bring adult content to people's mobile phones via the fledgling 3G networks. So again, 3G wasn't invented by porn, but with the investment that it actually took to set it up, it had the potential to be a failing venture. So porn grabs hold of it, decides they're going to take a risk and see what they can do with this. They put a lot of investment, a lot of research in it to figure out a way to get 3G working more reliably and faster. And basically the 3G companies were very, very happy to be working with pornographers, because they're very, very aware of the old adage that sex sells. And if they were able to sell sex over the 3G networks direct to people's mobile phones, then that meant more profit coming in, which meant less of the risk of loss for the investment of setting up 3G networks. And as we can see, 3G networks are extremely reliable and very, you know, successful now. A lot of people in this university have iPhones. I'm sure somebody in this room's got one. This one's going to be surprising for you. Child protection software for phones. I know that a lot of child protection software came out on the internet as soon as it became widely available, and of course for, for the sake of protecting children who are a little bit too immature to figure out, what was acceptable, what wasn't. You don't want to expose kids that are too young to porn, blah, blah, blah. Well, what happened was, with the advent of 3G, came its arguably most popular platform, which was the Apple iPhone. And at first, pornographers didn't want to sell their product on iPhones, specifically because they felt that it was too insecure. It could lead to a backlash and a lot of obscenity cases against the porn industry at large. So they kind of wanted to stay away from it. But on the other hand, they didn't really want to lose out on that clientele. So a lot of pornographic investment got put into sort of developing child protection codes for the Apple iPhone and other 3G platforms. I hadn't actually heard much about it. I know that it was being put into motion a few years ago, but I actually hadn't heard if it had gotten off the ground. But according to Jessie Jane, she's the star of the multi-million dollar budget and award-winning adult film Pirates and its sequel, Pirates 2: Stagnetti's Revenge. Jane boasts about how much she loves her iPhone because porn is available on it. So obviously they worked out the bugs, they got it off the ground because it is now available on iPhones. Okay, so a little bit about, social impact. As we're all aware, the previously mentioned technologies have been expanded upon and implemented for mainstream use. 3G networks are actually being used for communication. You can download hockey scores, keep up on sports, and actually communicate with people around the world. 3G networks are extensive and a lot more reliable than a lot of the cellular networks that we've been previously using, which means we've actually got a better handle on global communication that way. Many of these technological applications are being used in everyday businesses, education, for private and public entertainment as well. And one has to wonder where modern media would be if industries just sat around waiting for technology to prove itself, whereas the porn industry would jump in and was actually willing to prove the solidity and marketability of a lot of these technologies, which actually help give them that push. So it's kind of interesting to sit there and think, like, where would we be if it wasn't for porn driving these technologies? For example, we talked about web-based video conferencing. Where would we have been if Danny's hard drive wasn't offering live chat where somebody could view her over the webcam and have a conversation with Danny Ash? She's had this website up and running for years and years and years. It's probably one of the biggest and most popular, probably one of the most profitable online live porn sites. And she's got staff and everything that's constantly researching and coming back to her with different technological reports saying, what's new, what can we use, how can we make this better, how can I serve my clientele, and how much of the stuff that she's researched and driven has actually been implemented, just like this web-based video conferencing that we use here at Lakehead University.